Welcome to another episode of OATs Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut, unscripted, unfiltered, unedited, because life is like that. Today I have with me our dear friends Anika and Prisha, and they have something very relevant to talk about. In the last few years, there's been much talk about banning certain books which some people have felt that violates some privacy or some cultural or religious boundaries. So I wanted to hear from these young teenagers if they understand the concept of book banning, and what do they understand about it, and what are their thoughts about it. So Anika and Prisha, welcome to OATs Uncut.
Thank you.
So what is your understanding of this whole book banning buzz?
Book banning, parents come over to the administrator, the principal, and then they give a reason of why it's bad, and then they have to try and prove in order to get it shut down. It could be from libraries, from schools, both, online. They just have to have enough of a reason to prove why it's bad.
Okay, Prisha?
The reason could be racism, sexual content, unsettling topics, or things that are not appropriate for some ages.
Mm-hmm.
And some parents might not be comfortable with their children reading about violence or a unsettling topic about war or something.
Has there been a book that you have come across and you found it disturbing in any of those categories that you mentioned?
Not really, but a lot of the books that have been banned for a reason that seems so bad, but then you look at it and it's the stupidest reason. For example, Harry Potter, it's banned in parts of the UK in like Catholic schools for religion because magic offends them. So they have like the best intentions, but the end result is it's not where you want it to be. You're banning books that make kids happy rather than banning books that kids shouldn't see.
Okay, I just want to say one thing, that these opinions are their opinions and it's not passing judgment. So I am mindful of the fact, and I want us to be mindful of the fact that what we feel makes sense may not make sense to others, and what we feel doesn't make sense may make sense, a lot of sense to the others that we can't understand. So we're going to kind of refrain from passing a judgment and writing them off. So maybe there is a book that you felt was too much to handle and somebody else said, what's the big deal? And maybe there was a book that you enjoyed and then somebody else wants it banned and you're thinking, what's the big deal? So again, we are different people and we have different ways of thinking, different strokes for different folks. Have you heard that before?
No.
Okay, you'll hear it more from me. I say that a lot. Different strokes for different folks, because different people like different things in life, and that's okay. We should be okay. We should agree to disagree. But when it comes to education, banning books in school affects a larger demographic of students, and that's where I wanted to pick your brains. So you were researching this topic. What has your research showed you?
For me, it told me that one of the biggest reasons why books are banned is because of sexual content, and it's 92.5% of the books that are banned. That's the reason.
This is not from research, but last year we read a little segment from Little House on the Prairie.
Which one?
Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie, yeah.
And apparently we're not allowed to have it in school. We're not allowed to have it in the library because back then they were saying things that are considered racist now. They're saying things that are offensive to Native Americans because that's how they talked back then. That wasn't unusual. But now it's being banned because it's racist and it's violent. But this is just exploring what life was like back then. Some of the racist things are quotes from what people said. You're canceling what's happened. You're saying that books are being banned because of what they're said, but these are historical.
So just by us not reading those, it's not going to take those things away. Those things happen, and you feel that it should be okay to read about them, and it would just create more awareness about what happened in the past. Prisha, anything to add?
Well, when you ban a book and you tell kids, oh, guess what, this book is banned, kids are going to want to read that book, and kids are going to find that book, because when you tell a kid to not do something, they're going to want to do it more.
You had a cool statement that you made about that recently.
Strictest parents make the sneakiest kids.
Strictest parents make the sneakiest kids. I'll bear that in mind. I think that should go down in the Bible of parenting. Because so it's basically whatever you prohibit creates a little more desire for that object, whether it could be anything, not just a book. Very interesting. So you were discussing with me earlier that dictionary is banned? Or dictionary online at school?
Certain states have banned Merriam-Webster dictionary because they use adult words. It's a dictionary. They're supposed to have all the words. You're supposed to be able to find out whatever you need, if it's age appropriate or not.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that was probably decided because some students used it inappropriately?
I think probably concerned parents were too sensitive about the matter, and they realized this is something we don't want our kids hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing it themselves, they decided to go to the administrative and get them to just wipe it off.
Wipe it off. Okay. So in your experience, you are in 7th grade now, both of you. In your experience so far, there hasn't been a book that you felt was objectionable content? Or was there?
There have been a few books.
There have been a few books by some kids that...
I like the way you smile and say there have been a few books. You seem to be amused about that access. Tell me.
Because, I kind of found a website with all the books that have been banned.
So you have made a list of books that you must read? Are those titles?
Maybe.
No, but my question is that have you already read a book through school, through your curriculum, so far, till about this grade that you're in, which you thought was borderline questionable content and should have been probably held back, and you should not have been exposed to that content, whether it was sexual or violent?
When I was in 3rd grade, one of the troublemaking kids found an anime book where a girl was nude, and he showed it to everybody in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And in 3rd grade, you weren't really sure what to do with this information, so it spread really fast.
Okay. So, and that was a book in the curriculum?
It wasn't in the curriculum, it was in the library.
It was at the library. Okay.
Like the media center inside school.
So, but you guys have free access to the internet. You guys have smartphones and so much access to so much out there. So, do you think that it's only the books that are carrying that information to you? I mean, if your generation wanted to access that kind of content, don't they already have that access? Aren't most video games so violent also? And isn't so much content on the television and movies so sexual in nature also?
Yes, that's true. Some movies are like that. But, I mean, in this book's case, I feel like parents are more involved. Like, you could go on your phone in the middle of the night and then search the content that you want. But then in books, like, the parent is like, oh, you shouldn't be reading it because it has some written stuff that they don't want you. Like, they're paying attention to that.
So basically the parents are objecting to the certain books, are trying to control what they can.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to control video games by not buying it for your kids. I think it's easier to see that, oh, this is violent, they shouldn't do it. I think they're more open to video games because it's violence, but it's with your friends. Movies, you could say don't watch, or there's limited chances they're going to come upon it. Their ratings, there's certain things kids can't do that's prohibited by more than just the teachers or parents. I also think that they want to ban books because it's out of their control. They can't control what kids read in school. So the best way to try to control it is to try to get the ones they don't want to be banned.
Because this has been going on for generations. Even when I was a little girl, I had an older cousin sister who was not allowed certain books, not from school, but generally speaking, certain romance novels that her generation was reading, she wasn't allowed access to, and if she was found reading, she would get in trouble. So guess what? She wouldn't buy them herself. She would exchange them from other friends and sneak them into the house and actually open her history book or geography book and put it inside, because those romance novels were smaller in size than those textbooks. And she would be sitting in her room reading, and if the parents popped in to check on her, it would appear to them that she was studying. So I feel that, to your point, the strictest parents create the sneakiest kids. So I think parents mean well when they try to control the exposure, because they don't. How children absorb it, how you all absorb it is also unique. Somebody may be mature and be able to handle that kind of content and brush it off and say, you know what, this was a bit inappropriate, but it's okay. It's done. It was part of the story. Fine. Somebody may get scarred by certain reading and certain scenarios. So I think a lot depends on the maturity of the child also. So who am I to give the verdict on banning or not banning? But I think that statement of yours will always resonate with me. The strictest parents create sneakiest children. The more we try to take away, the more you will get your hands on. So do you have a closing statement about the subject, book banning? You think, what is your final statement on this? Yes or no, or unsure?
I think book banning should be I think some books should be banned, but I think it should be up to the administrators rather than concerned parents. Because there are books like Charlotte's Web, Where's Waldo, that's being banned in certain states because religious reasons. But it's religious to that family. It's not religious for every single person in that state or everyone in that town. It's religious to certain people. So parents should be in charge of keeping it away from their kids, but not away from all these schools. But I do agree that some books should be banned.
Some books could be banned.
I agree with Anika saying that some books should be banned, because I feel like some books are like basically not appropriate for some ages. But I also think it depends on the student's interest. Like, some people are more interested in like Harry Potter and magic, while others might be more interested in war topics. So it's like, it varies from kid to kid. So it shouldn't be like, oh, since you like romance, you can't read it anymore. And then the kid that likes magic, it doesn't affect him, but it affects the kid that likes the romance.
Without putting you on a spot, you both said there are certain books that could be considerably banned. Can you give me a title of one such book?
I can't give you a title because I don't pay enough attention to it. But I would say most Japanese anime, because they don't have the same kind of sensitivity to these topics.
The Japanese anime, but that's not part of your curriculum.
No, but it's so easy. There are sections in the library that
in the
will give
library.
you.
Okay, all right. And Prisha?
There's one book, 17 Reasons Why.
17 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that should definitely be banned.
Interesting.
I mean, it is banned some places, but...
Something to look into. Well, Anika, Prisha, thank you so much for your time and for your input. I think it's very important for us to hear from the children who are going through it right now. It's only fair to make such decisions with your consult. So I truly appreciate your input. Thank you very much. You were very articulate. You gave us a lot of great statements and ideas. Thank you. This was a talk with Anika and Prisha about book banning, a big buzzword around us, has been for quite some time. This is Vinita Khanna signing off on this episode of OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. Stay tuned for more very quality stuff with these young speakers. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.